The spring season is officially upon us, and the spring sports are well underway. The temperature is starting to heat up, and so are the spring seasons. I am Dan Ward. This is Mason Sports Insider. So what do we want to talk about first? Well, why don't we talk about the men's basketball team whose season finally ended just this past week over spring break. You guys were enjoying the snow. The men's team was trying to win some basketball games. However, after winning their first A-10 conference game in their program's history, the team lost to VCU in the quarterfinals of the A-10 tournament, thus ending their much improved and overall successful 2016-2017 season. Now their overall record was able to get them into the CBI, College Basketball Invitational, the third ranked tournament behind NCAA tournament and the NIT. Mason was one of the top-ranked seeds, so they hosted the first round of the CBI against Loyola, but the team was out of sorts for this game, to say it kindly. An embarrassing loss was suffered to Loyola, and the season is now officially over for the green and gold. Now, despite the embarrassing loss, it was a tremendous growth for this team, thanks to Dave Paulson, who has quickly turned this program around. Now, the question is, can he keep it going this year? He's losing Marquise Moore and Jalen Jenkins. I think after next season, their team's going to take a step backward, but in 2 years, they will have taken it 2 to 3 to 4 steps forward. Why do I think this? In 2 years, look at the senior class. Otis Livingston II, Jair Greer, DeAndre Abram, Cameron Morrell, and Danny Dixon. Junior class, Justin Kier, Kamari Newman, Troy Tamara, Ian Boyd, Daniel Helva, and A.J. Wilson, who we didn't get to see play this year. The sophomore class, which is supposed to be pretty strong, kid from Georgia who has scored over 30, 40, and 50 points in various games, is coming to Mason. He'll have an entire year of experience as a freshman, so him and his teammates in their sophomore class will be very experienced. So that's 3 full classes of at least 8 players with a lot of experience and skill. So 2 years down the line, that's, I think, when Mason Nation finally shows up and turns their season around and perhaps gets back to the NCAA tournament. This is going to be difficult, replacing a guy that averaged a double-double and your basically only good big man from a season ago in Jalen Jenkins. Trying to replace those 2 guys is going to be tough, which brings them a step backward. But if Daniel Helva, Danny Dixon, and some of the new recruits that they bring in the big man position can step up, maybe things will change sooner. But as long as Dave Paulson is at the helm, George Mason basketball is heading in the right direction, and that direction is towards consistent conference title contention. But now, let's give a shout out to the George Mason Athlete of the Week. This week's Athlete of the Week is Michelle Wallerstedt of the women's track and field team. She set a school record with a discus throw and a toss of 53.55 meters. The track and field team overall had a strong weekend, and Coach Andrew Gerard talked highly about their opening weekend, saying, quote, "I think we came out of the blocks very strongly, building nicely on the momentum from indoors, and especially in some of the outdoor-only events. Michelle's discus is certainly a highlight, but the javelin, 4x100s, steeplechase, 400-meter hurdles, and 100s also went very well." So congratulations, Michelle Wallerstedt, and good luck track and field. I expect big things from both teams this spring. Now back to the action with the women's lacrosse team. Mason's lacrosse team last played against Coastal Carolina and won 12-6 behind 4 goals from sophomore Chachi Callahan and 8 straight goals by the team in the second half. They shut out Coastal Carolina in the second half en route to that 12-6 victory and their 3rd win of the season. The team is now 3-3 overall, with victories coming against Coastal Carolina, William & Mary, and Liberty University. Their losses have been to Georgetown, Virginia Tech, and High Point. Callahan, who was scoreless in her first 2 games of the season, now leads the team with 16 goals and 20 points. Behind her are seniors Melissa Lobacaro, Brooke Lorber with 16 and 14 points respectively, and the newcomer Haley Johnson, making a mark on the program early, beginning her career with 7 goals and 2 assists through 6 games. She is tied with Alexa McGovern, another senior, in goals and points. The offense is looking good, and I expect them to continue this way. When you look at this team, offense is not the area that you have to worry about. In front of the net, Elizabeth Benedetto has been solid, starting all but one game, but the newcomer, Melissa Semku, has been impressive in her limited minutes, posting a 58% save percentage, which is 12 points higher than Benedetto. Melissa started and won the game against Coastal after relieving Benedetto in the loss to High Point. So now there may be some goaltender battle brewing on the Lacrosse field. This is a team that last year had no definite goaltender, and Benedetto really stepped up in a big way to lead the team to a second place finish in the A10 behind UMass. So after seeing an uncertainty of goaltender a season ago, there really should be no surprise from either the players or the fans that there could be some goaltender controversy this year. Now, what would be a surprise to fans is the performance of the men's volleyball team. This men's volleyball team has dug themselves a deep hole, and they are going to need to be perfect to climb out of it. They have been on the road facing some of the better teams in the country out west. They beat number 11 Cal State Northridge, but then lost to number 2 Long Beach State and number 12 USC. They return home this Friday to take on Barton in their final out-of-conference game of the season. Then the test comes in, facing 7 straight EIVA opponents, facing every team except Harvard. Taking a look at the current standings, we see Mason sitting in 7th place at 2-5 in conference games. Only the top 4 teams make the EIVA tournament, and right now the defending champs are 2.5 games back of Princeton for that final spot. You know Penn State isn't going to give up that top spot, and Sacred Heart and NJIT are playing very well this season. Ending the season on an 8-game winning streak may be the only hope for the men's volleyball team. Now, with that being said, that would set them up very nicely for the EIVA tournament. Carry all that momentum, which would include taking down Penn State in the final game of the regular season. They are a talented group that just need to come together and prove why they are the reigning EIVA champions. Jay Hasek last year was able to rally the troop in a big way, but can he make another incredible run this season? Well, the answer begins on Friday, once again, when they take on Barnes University, and then Saturday against West Virginia Charleston. And now it is time for a new segment called What I Like and What I Don't Like. First, what I like. I like that first baseman Trevor Kelly is repping the number 11 jersey very well by batting .311 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs. I also like that number 34 Klein Bailey has a .2000 slugging percentage after hitting a grand slam in one of his 2 at-bats this season. I don't like that the baseball team is 7-13 with a team ERA over 5 and a fielding percentage of only .959. Defense and pitching wins ball games. They need to improve with conference play coming up quickly. I like that the young talent of freshman Madison Aker and sophomore Aaron Kaplan are leading the offense for the softball team with a .316 and .297 batting average respectively. I like that sophomore Marina Vidalich is dominating once again with a 2.2 ERA and nearly a strikeout per inning. I don't like that the softball team is 4-18 and that Vidalich is only 3-6 with 11 unearned runs tagged to her line. The team is not scoring and not playing defense for their best pitcher. Both teams that play on the diamond need to improve in these 2 areas if they have any hope in competing in the A10. I like that wrestlers Sahid Kargbo and Ibrahim Bunduka represented Mason Nation in the NCAA championships in St. Louis earlier this month. I don't like the disappointing season thus far for the men's volleyball team. I like that Lacrosse is going to be hosting Oregon on March 27th, East Coast versus West Coast. I don't like that the Lacrosse team is committing more turnovers than their opponents and scoring most of their goals in an unassisted fashion instead of through quick passing and teamwork, which they've done very well in past seasons. I like that the golf team took home 3rd place in their most recent tournament, and I like that the first conference opponents come to town this weekend for both baseball and softball. The real games, the best games of the season, are about to begin. There's a lot going on in the spring, a lot of sports to stay updated on and to cheer for. Lots of season is left, which means plenty of opportunity for growth and change. Continue to strive toward greatness and put Mason Nation on the map. We'll be back next week with more on Mason Athletics. But until that time, this was Mason Sports Insider. I am Dan Ward saying so long, God bless, and go Patriots.